So Instagram just released a post from their creators account saying that you should only be using 3 to 5 hashtags on your content. And since here at Flick, Instagram hashtags are what we are all about, we want to make this video to respond back to that new advice, as well as to provide our perspective, because we really think they're saying a lot more than just the 3 to 5, and there's a lot more that goes into it, especially for your unique situation. So let's get into it. Let's break down what this really means and what it means for you as an Instagram creator. So what's going on? It's Ben here from Flick. There's a change of scenery. I'm usually in our Flick studio, but today I'm traveling, but this news is hot off the press, so I wanted to get this video out to you from my hotel room. So the post from Instagram, which is their creators account, they came out and said tips for using hashtags, and here are the do's and then the don'ts. The do's include: do use hashtags that are relevant to the theme of the content. That's nothing new. Do check which hashtags your fans are already using and follow. Solid tip. Do mix well-known and niche hashtags to broaden your discoverability. Do use specific hashtags so your fans can easily search for your content, and you can even create your own. So they're referring to branded hashtags here. And do keep the number of hashtags between 3 and 5. And this is the biggest thing that's sending shockwaves throughout the Instagram community, is because that's conflicting with other information that we've heard even directly from Instagram in the past. Plus, big point we want to emphasize here is their other do's on this list are very difficult to achieve when only using 3 to 5 hashtags. So we're going to talk more about this in a minute, but let's move on to the don'ts here. The don'ts include: don't use hashtags that have nothing to do with your content, to keep things specific. Don't use overly generic hashtags. These will make it harder for people to discover your content due to the volume of other people using your hashtags. So that's just a longer way of saying don't use overly competitive hashtags, because you won't rank. And the final tip for the don't is don't use too many hashtags. Adding 10 to 20 hashtags will not help you get additional distribution. That's the final don't that they include. And you can use up to 30 hashtags on Instagram. So I don't know why they even said 10 to 20, but that's what they included. And the final slide within this post is a little gentle reminder or a summary. Things to keep in mind: the content itself and the way people interact with it can affect distribution more than the hashtag. Think of a hashtag as a tool that provides context about your post and supports delivering content to people who are interested in a particular topic. So really what they're saying here is hashtags aren't going to make a bad post good, but it can push a great piece of content that's, when used appropriately and accurately, even farther. So I'm sure since you clicked this video, you're confused and a little bit shocked by them saying only use 3 to 5, when there is tons of conflicting reports, even directly from Instagram, as well as other Instagram experts and coaches out there telling you to do so many different things and how many hashtags to use for optimal performance. So while this information and advice is brand new, it will take some time for us to really see how this truly impacts the platform. What we want to do in this video is break down what we think they're trying to get at and what it really means for you as the creator. So what we take from this is the huge need for relevancy when it comes to Instagram hashtags. That has always played a major role, but them coming out and saying this, we feel it's really their way of saying relevancy is king, and it should be your primary focus when using hashtags on your content. And we feel that they may be saying use 3 to 5 to really urge the importance of being highly relevant, because if you're only using 3 to 5, it should be very easy to find highly relevant tags. Versus if you're trying to use 30 every single time, the chances of all of those being super relevant goes down, especially for more novice Instagram users who don't use a tool like Flick to find their hashtags. So this is really Instagram coming out and saying be highly relevant. That's how we read this, and we feel that's how you should interpret it as well. Really stress the relevancy between the tags you're using and the content it's assigned to. So although this advice is coming directly from Instagram, we don't feel that it's truly one size fits all, because there will be situations, and there currently are people who are experiencing tremendous results using different numbers of tags. So with that, we highly recommend you experiment with doing different things. Seeing as there is so much conflicting information out there, what really matters is what works for you personally. So try 3 to 5, try more, and then try 30. Whatever works for you will make the most sense. But relevancy is key, and it always has been key, and it will be key. But with this advice being so different from what has typically been said, it is leaving a lot of people shocked. But don't get too fixated on what they're saying. Focus more on what it means. So stress relevance and relevance to the specific piece of content. We feel like that's the biggest takeaway. And Instagram has also come out and said they are trying to integrate more search functionality to their content. So by making everything super specific and super relevant with this kind of advice, it makes it easier for search functionality to come into play, because they have a very strong indication of what that content is and who would like it. So we really feel like it's just going down that path, and that's why they're saying this. Although they're not coming out directly and saying that, that's how we're interpreting it. So our key takeaways are relevancy. The next is don't stress this too much. There are still people who are currently today posting out content using 30 relevant tags, and they're finding 30 that are highly relevant to the content, and it's bringing them great success. So if you're currently doing that and it's still bringing you results. Don't change up just because Instagram came out and said this when there's proof that people are doing something different and getting great results. Experiment with different groups of tags to see what works for you and your content. Hashtags are a tool, and they still are a very powerful tool to bring you targeted impressions and people to your content and then your page. So use them as such. Use the advice that Instagram does give you, but take it with a grain of salt and understand that this is just general advice. We at Flick track the performance of hashtags across all of our 50,000 plus users, and we're able to see that people that use more relevant hashtags are typically getting more results. So keep that in mind and keep experimenting. This is not a one size fits all solution. Read between the lines of what Instagram is saying and figure out how this makes sense for you. Keep experimenting and finding what tags are working for you. And Flick is a phenomenal resource to help you find those relevant tags. And since they're stressing how important relevance is, you definitely want to be able to find those tags that are relevant to this specific piece of content. So if you haven't tried Flick out for yourself, there is a free week trial linked down below that you can use to access all of our tools to help you find the right tags and then track exactly how those hashtags are performing for you, your content, and your account. And this is the best place on YouTube to learn about Instagram hashtags and growing on Instagram. So if that's something you're looking to do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. We release completely free content every single week to help you do just that. And this is the best place to crush it on Instagram here on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe. So quick summary. They say to use 3 to 5, but we really feel they're saying be highly relevant. We strongly encourage you experiment with different tags as well as different grouping sizes to really figure out what works for you, and don't sweat this so much. At the end of the day, if what you're doing is working, amazing. And if it's not, continue to experiment and you will find something that will. And if you're looking for some more information specific to Instagram hashtags, we just linked our hashtag guide in the card above. It is a tremendously helpful video that will teach you everything that you need to know when it comes to Instagram hashtags. I'll see you over there on that video. Keep crushing it. We'll talk soon. Peace.